All right, we are live. I am so excited for this. I've been looking forward to this for a few weeks now. We actually all got together as a group last week and talked and had so much fun. We were there for, I think, 2 hours, which was amazing. So I see Tattooed Ronan Fu, you're already on, which is awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Alicia's on too. Awesome. So glad you're here. You're here last week too, which is awesome. So thanks so much for supporting. And yeah, so if you're new to my channel, Move with Jenn, I'm Jenn. So this is something that I've kind of started doing over the last couple months, is getting some of my favorite content creators together to discuss certain topics. So the one for today is the importance of fitness as you age, which is something that I'm super passionate about and something that everybody here is also really passionate about. And so I will pass it over to Nasser and we'll do a round of introductions.
Thank you, Jen. Firstly, thank you to this, um, not really speaking for the panel, but thank you to this lovely young lady, Jen, an amazing YouTuber and Instagrammer. Um, you've been following me for a while now, and so, but I'm so excited to be here, Jen. Thank you so much. So as as a matter of introduction, my name is Nasser, and I'm based in New Jersey. Um, you know, this is such a, I would actually call it a hot topic, and even hotter now with COVID and whatnot. Age is a frightening prospect. You have one life to live. You either use it or you lose it. You know, so why not give it the best that you can? Invest in fitness now. There is no tomorrow. Um, you know, um, I, I used to be a coach in when I was younger, when my sons were growing up. Coached them soccer. Even before that, in my youth, I used to be a dancer, and so I was always attracted to fitness and all that. But there was no consistency. There were these, phases: dancing as a young man, and then coaching my young sons. Um, and then there was a gap when both my sons were done with high school and all that. Now, of course, they're professionals. Um, so I was always looking for something, and I needed to. I needed something that I could really sink my teeth into, give it my all, without, of course, hurting myself. I was always interested in fitness and all that, and so I actually credit my oldest son, who is a DPT. He's a doc. He's just got his doctorate in physical therapy last September. And so he got me into what is known as, here in North Jersey, we have it's a facility that he was working at, Maven Physical Therapy Center. And so he got me into their program. And once I got in there, I was hooked. I mean, we were doing Spartans and 5Ks and 10Ks and whatnot. And so here we are. I'll take that as my intro bit for now, and come back to you with more.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nasser. Nasser, I'm so excited you're here. So for everybody that's new and maybe some of our other YouTubers, maybe you don't recognize Nasser, and that's because he is close to getting a YouTube channel, but he's not quite there yet.
Your
So
help.
what you guys need to do is go to Instagram, follow him. It's BEG Nasser. So check him out. He's amazing. You guys got to see what he does on a daily basis, not just like sometimes, but daily. He's so inspiring. And if you guys are YouTubers and you're on here, give him some love and tell him that he should start his YouTube channel, because I think he needs just a little bit of love and support. So and just before we go over to Augie, so Kathy D, I see you're on. Derek's Journey, thanks so much for being here. Shea Butter, Farouk, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for being here. One thing I forgot to mention right at the beginning is obviously I want your comments coming in. So if you guys have questions for anyone here, or questions or thoughts or whatever that's coming through your mind as we're going through this, make sure you post them in the comments. We'll try to either address them right away, or I'll write them down and we'll try to get to them a little bit later, but just so you know, we are paying attention to you. And Jenn Cordero, one of my best friends, thanks so much for joining. I'm so happy you're here. Augie, I'll throw it over to you.
Okay, good evening from where I am in the UK. Good afternoon to where most of you are. So my fitness journey started in the 1960s. Okay, when I was a small boy and I fell in love with exercise, or mostly football or soccer, back then. Fast forward to my teens and I was involved in athletics, and I was even pretty good at gymnastics. Can't do any of that now, but I also played lots of football again. Fast forward to my late teens, I was in the Royal Navy, and sport was my life by then. You know, team sports and various other things. In the 80s, I really fell in love with weight training. The days of when Arnold Schwarzenegger was in his element, and I wanted to be like him. Clearly, I now know that that was impossible for various reasons. But I was always a skinny kid at school. I was really quite tiny naturally, so I wanted to build muscle. Okay. And it's carried on into my 30s, and I still did it, you know, while still enjoying life into my 40s. Into my 40s is when I had a bit of an epiphany. In my late 40s, I realized I was really becoming middle-aged. Okay. For some people, you find that earlier, but for me, it was my trousers were starting to get a bit tight, and I went up a waist like 2 inches. So I did something about it. I found a different program. I still was exercising hard. I changed my nutrition. Come to my 50s, I lost all my fat. I went up to 13 stone, which is, I don't know what that is in pounds off the top of my head, but 13 times 14, basically, whatever that is. And now I'm 60 and I'm still loving it. I have loads of energy. I work in a gym as well as being a personal trainer, and I've got a day job as well. I ain't slowing down anytime soon. And that's my intro.
That was a pretty epic intro, Augie. If you guys haven't checked Augie out yet, make sure you go check him out. I mean, man, the stuff that he does, he did like Adrian and Nico's workout a couple weeks ago. Like, this guy's on fire. So you guys gotta go check him out if you want to get inspired. And, you know, one thing that I love about Augie is he'll tell you that, you know, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you can't have fun. You can still have just as much fun, and maybe even some more if you look at what he's doing. So all right, over to you, Kirsten.
Well, I love that, Augie. I ain't slowing down anytime soon. I love that. I'm with you. I'm with Augie. I'm not slowing down anytime soon. So I've been in physical fitness for a really long time, full-time for about 23 years, the age of my middle son, when I realized I wanted to turn my fitness passion from a hobby to a jobby. And so I went into it full-time, became a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified health coach and instructor now. I've got boot camps around Charlotte, and I've got personal clients. And it was around the pandemic, I wanted to connect to my people because it was so hard during that time, during quarantine, that I decided to get on YouTube. I decided to Nasser, I totally got out of my comfort zone. I was like, I'm going to do YouTube, even though I'm technologically challenged. I don't know how to do any of this, but I did it. You know, I did it, and I'm having fun with it, and it's really great. So anyway, I used to own a gym, personal training business, all that. So I really love fitness. I've been in it a long time. I'm certified in silver sneakers, Pilates, body pump, TRX, spinning, resistance bands, all that kind of stuff. So I love it. I'm passionate about it, and I love learning more and more. But I really love this whole like YouTube connection, because it's great connecting with people that love fitness and maybe not teaching it or training it, but doing it. And so I just love this whole thing. So thanks, Jenn, for having me on. And it's been really fun.
Kirsten, it's so awesome you're here, and I'm so excited you're here too. Because I mean, anybody that's been to Kirsten's channel, you don't go there without seeing like lots of positivity, like the most energy you can imagine, and see the passion coming through. So you just go, and you can't not go to your channel and feel inspired. And I know exactly what you mean about the YouTube community. This is something that I love so much too. I mean, so many of our fellow YouTubers are on this live right now. So thanks so much for being here, everyone. Jessica, I see that you're on. I'm trying to see if there's anybody new on that I missed. Oh yeah, Nikki and G, I know you guys are on. Too Fat, Too Furious. And I think I've got everybody, which is awesome. So, oh, and Shea Butter, Kirsten, you're glowing.
You're so
All right.
sweet. I just love you, Shay.
Oh, yeah, and here, some more love for Kirsten. The energy Kirsten brings is amazing. You can't be sad watching her videos. I totally agree with that.
You're sweet. Thank you. So sweet.
My sister just said hi, Jen. She's based in Germany, in Stuttgart, in Germany.
Oh, that's amazing. I love when we got a global presence like this. This is one of the things that I absolutely love about these online sessions is that, Augie's in the UK. We've got Nasser's sister from Germany. We've got Nasser and Kirsten in the US. Me and Sue are in Canada. It's just super cool to have so many amazing people here. I'm going to throw it over to Sue. You guys, if you guys have been on my lives, you guys know Sue. She's on, I think, every one of them. So I'll throw it over to Sue.
Awesome. I really have had a lot of fun with you, Jen, doing these. It's been so great. And the people that I've met through the community, we know a lot of the same people, but yet, you've introduced me to other people, just really amazing YouTubers and fitness people. So yeah, it's been a great experience. It is just the YouTube experience itself. And we appreciate you too, Jessica. It is just so wonderful to have just people words of encouragement. So yeah, whether you're on hi Paul, we are on a journey of YouTube or just on a journey of fitness and wellness, we all need that encouragement, and just having that group presence means so much. So for myself, my journey to aging with fitness, I think part of it is maybe when you're on this journey, you don't feel like you're aging. I don't know about everybody else, but that's kind of the way it feels. My grandmother lived to over 100 years old, and she was definitely my hero. So I've always been really motivated to not only live a long time, but I can't control that, but certainly the quality of life that we experience along the way. And that's my quest, is to live life in such a way that I don't have to say no to things. If I say no, it's because I genuinely don't want to, not because I can't. And, that gives you a lot of power. And, I chuckled a few years back. I was on just a small boat vessel with someone, and getting out, she extended her hand thinking that I needed help to get out of it. It's like, I don't think so. Just kind of hop out of it. And so it has been a lifelong journey. I started off as a child, being always on the move, skipping rope, riding my bike, riding for like a long, long way. That was my mode of transportation. I lived out in the country, so the only way that you could get anywhere was to get on your bike and go. And I used to even sneak in my room at nighttime and work on sit-ups and push-ups when I was still in elementary school, so I could get better when we did it at school. So, and from there, if you have seen any of the collabs that I've done with Jen, I talked about my yoga story. I started as a teenager with a book, and there used to be a television program back then that was doing yoga. It was about a half hour of yoga. My mother watched it all the time, so I used to do it with her, and really liked the poses. I was always really fascinated by how many benefits that you could get from doing these poses. Some of them, especially when you're a teenager, they're pretty easy. And the fact that it could have an impact on weight, on thyroid, on all the stimulation to your body was just like, really? That's so easy to do. But, you know, I appreciate as the years go by, when I first went back to doing yoga, I remember being in the class doing a back bend and the teacher saying, nothing's happening. That's how stiff I was. I felt like I was bending back, but nothing was happening. It wasn't going on. So I think I've progressed since then. I'm certainly not a gymnast by any stretch, but I've really discovered through this journey the importance of maintaining mobility by both the strength that Pilates and yoga offers, as well as the flexibility and work on flexibility, and how important that is for the benefits. Yes, you know, and as we are on that journey, we get to really discover those. I also was part of the aerobics craze back in the 80s. I used to teach aerobics. It was a lot of fun. A few injuries along the way, but I think when I found yoga, I really found what I vibed with the most. So, and I can plan on continuing. I don't see ever stopping, really. So, you know, whether I'm doing it on YouTube or just doing it for myself, yeah, I'm just going to continue and keep going. So, thank you, everyone.
I love that too. Yeah, I honestly am also kind of on that personal mission of like, I never want to feel like I can't do something. I just want to keep trying to go as long and as hard as I can go. Maybe not hard, because like I really, obviously you guys know I love yoga and I don't think there's anything that hard about it. But
yes,
well,
there is.
you know what? I mean, as I said hard, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, that doesn't work either. But you know what I was thinking about? I'm thinking about like a high intensity when I'm thinking hard. But yeah, yoga is hard in its own fashion. Absolutely.
Exactly. It can be humbling.
It can be very humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as you said too, like when you did your first back bend, you're like, I swear, I'm like bending all the way back. And it's like, no, you're not.
Exactly.
So good. I noticed we have a few more people that have come on. So FitLab, Aaron, I'm so glad you made it. Who else do we have here? We've got Burpee Uncle Yoga, so I'm glad you're here too. It's nice to see you here. We've got Lek Mud. I hope I said that correctly. So you're here too, which is awesome. We've got Paul Davies on, which is amazing. So lots of people on, which is really good. And yeah, we're about 22 people, which is pretty good. So awesome. So first, I'm just so excited that all of you are on here. So thanks so much for being here to listen into the topic. Again, just keep the comments coming as you guys have stuff. We'll put them on the screen. And, you know, if there's, we've got some topics that we want to try and cover off. But if you've got questions, we'll try to include them where we can as well, as always. And so we shall begin. All right. So for the first part of the topic, what we wanted to talk a little bit about is how fitness can actually improve your quality of life as you age. So I know one of the things, so I might actually throw it, I might go a little around the, you know, the format that we have. And I was actually going to just throw it over to Augie, because I know you had a lot to say, Augie, just around, especially around metabolism and some of the science behind it, maybe.
Yeah, so the science is very deep, and I'm obviously not going to go into it too deeply, but the studies out there show, right, I don't know if you know, right, the body's made up of millions of cells. They're broken down into nucleus and whatever, and inside there are chromosomes. On these chromosomes, there's a thing called telomeres, right? As you age, right, they shorten. And it's been proven by doing even moderate exercise that the telomeres do actually grow in length, therefore slowing down the aging process. Clearly, it's more detailed than that, but I'm not a scientist, and I'm not even going to attempt to explain what it is. So the science is there. As you age, your metabolism changes. For instance, you find that for most of us, as you age, even maybe at Jen's age at 31, that you can't eat what you did as an 18-year-old because you put on weight too much or something like that. Well, you double that, and for us oldies, what it's like, But, you can't eat the same that you did in your 20s or as a teenager. So that's one thing. And the telomeres is another thing. But it's also losing muscle mass, and it's very young. It's in your 30s. There's various different studies, various different figures, but it could be up to, I was just reading before we came on actually, it can be 3 to 4% in your 30s of muscle mass loss. As you get older, it's even more. And if you don't exercise resistance training or yoga, then you will lose it. And then that's why you have lots of old and frail people. Yeah, okay, notwithstanding diseases or anything like that, that's a separate issue altogether. But it can really, really help. And as you get older, I've got grandchildren, and I can still, I've got twin 15-year-old grandsons, and I can still kick a ball around in a park with them. There's not many people my age who would be able to do that. And that's a fact. I'm not being arrogant, I'm not boasting, but it's just a fact. So start young, right? And it will pay dividends as you get older, and certainly when you get to our age, apart from you, Jen. Well, even at your age, Jen, if you look at your peers, without obviously naming names, but what you probably stand out without really noticing it, because to you, health and fitness is just habitual,
And
and that's it.
And just to add to that, Augie, so I mean, so for everybody who's on, so I'm 31. So this is an important topic for me because when I turned 30, I noticed a significant difference in sort of my energy levels and the way that my body functions and all those kinds of things. And I imagine a lot of you must be the same. So regardless of how old you are, in my opinion, if you're older than 30, then you need to move. It doesn't matter how you move, but you need to move. And we'll kind of keep going into the reasons why, but absolutely, like in your 20s, you can kind of just jump out of bed and probably feel pretty fine, even after maybe a couple night bender of drinking and maybe a lot of McDonald's and all those kinds of things. But as you get older, that's just your body doesn't maintain or bounce back quite as quick. So
I feel like when you get older, it's like game on. It's like there's like no wiggle room anymore. It's like you have to eat right. Sleep is incredibly important. Moving your body, if you don't move it, you're going to lose it, especially when you're older. And Jen, you are so young. 31, you're so young. But yeah, like Augie said, he's right. Like we can lose at the age of 30 per decade, like some research even says up to 8% of muscle mass per decade. So that could be like you're 70 years old, you could have 30% of your muscle mass gone. So it's like we need to use it, strength train, eat enough protein, keep that metabolism up. Like there's so much that we can do right now, starting, in our 30s, to just keep it going.
So Aaron's bringing up a couple of points that I forgot to mention, about diseases can be prevented, and a whole host of different things. And of course, the heart as well. It's lots of benefits. There's so many benefits. There are just too many to list, in my opinion.
Where do you start? It's kind of like there's so much, and he is so right about everything. I mean, exercise, fitness, health, it needs to happen. You guys, we need to do it before we're told to do it by a doctor. Prevention of disease, and quality of life. How important is that? Playing with your grandchildren. Let's get right down to the real reason. It's not to fit in that pair of jeans, although that's nice. It's quality of life. It's being around for your loved ones.
Totally. And so one thing I was going to bring up a bit later, but I think now is actually a really good time for it. So one reason why I started getting really interested in this topic is because of this book right here. So it's called Younger Next Year. It's by two people. It's by Chris Crowley and Henry Lodge. It was something that one of my coworkers had recommended to me. And honestly, this book is for people in the last third of their life. That's what they say. And but I wanted to read it because I wanted to know how to prevent all these things from happening. And so just before, I actually wrote a couple things down. So if you are interested in the science behind all of this, please pick up that book. There's a woman's version and a man's version. So whichever gender you can pick based off of that. So it's a little bit more centered for what your body might be going through. But here's a couple stats that I took from the book. So one, they say about 70% of premature death and aging is lifestyle related. So that includes things like heart attacks, strokes, common cancer, diabetes, brittle bones, falls. When someone who's older, they fall, they break a hip, that those types of things really start impacting the quality of life later. Any fractures, any other serious injuries, sorry, not energies. The other thing is you can actually eliminate, not delay, but eliminate more than half of all of those diseases. Eliminate, right? So that is so powerful. So, Erin was amazing at sort of outlining a lot of that stuff. So thanks so much for doing that, Erin. And as everybody said, there are just so many benefits, but I just want you to focus on the power of that. You can eliminate those diseases, not just delay them, eliminate them. So that's not even a possibility for you. So, if that's not something to sort of consider when you're kind of thinking about it in terms of quality of life and, being there for your kids, being there for your grandkids, being there for your family, and actually being there, not just, not being able to move, that's big.
Just existing, not having a life.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Nasser, Sue, do you have anything to add on to it?
Well, let me jump in here. So I'm not scientific in my approach to. I don't analyze and overanalyze, and I don't even break it down. I just take things as it comes. But it's like this. Let's say I run into a friend. Let's say they're your age, Jen, okay, 30, 35, and I say, hey, you want to join me on my run tomorrow morning? And it's so strange when, I ask someone and they say, I've got a lumbar problem, or my knees are too weak, or I've got severe asthma. Um, I'm right now I'm on um on a run streak. I challenged myself last year. It was somewhere around the beginning of COVID. Um, let's see how long I can go. And in another 10 days, I'll be completing 365 days running, about 4 to 5 miles every day, and about 15 to 20-minute workout coupled with that. So with that, I come to a point where I know I've increased lung capacity like this. you know, it feels amazing. I mean, I can monkey around. You've seen some of the stuff I do. So I am so thankful to be able to do whatever I do. With everything that's going on, whether it's COVID or whatnot. Um, it is, as you said, I've not been as active or fortunate as the rest of you have. I mean, yes, I'm with a panel of coaches. I'm always aware of that, but I've I've always tried to be active over the years. As I said, I started off with dance, then was a um, long uh, time that I was doing coaching with my sons, whether it was soccer and whatnot. So um, I was looking for that consistency thing, and that is only coming now. So um, now, as I was saying, how should I? You have to um, push yourself every day. It's hard. It's not easy. We talk about these milestones like 30 and 40, and we've been through that, Jen. You've not as yet. you're just starting. We've been through that. We feel the effects of that. But then all I can say for myself is I am so lucky. I don't, if I talk to a 30-year-old and I say, come with me for my run, and they have all these things, you're not going to do it. And then you know what? You're going to look back when you're 55 plus, you're going to look back and say, wow, why didn't I start then? Why didn't I push myself? How is that he did it? And now look, I've added 6 inches to my waist, or 10 inches or whatever. So the benefits when you get to this point are, huge. Apart from, staving off diseases and whatnot, you can get around to doing. I look at myself on the flip side also, and I think, if I was not doing this, I know 10 years ago I was not doing this. I was, I was fooling around and whatnot, and I still had these aches and pains that I have even now. I still did. I was still sore. I was still lethargic, and not able to pick myself up from the bed or from the couch or whatever. I'm better being sore like this than being sorry. So that's my bit right there.
That's
Hey,
right.
if you're not sore, you're not working out hard enough. I like being sore. I like having workout soreness. As long as it's not like arthritis soreness. I don't have that.
So right,
You've got to have some of that DOMS, delayed onset of muscle soreness.
Yeah, it's like after leg day, right? Where you can like barely get off the couch.
Yeah, I love it. I love that.
Yeah. When I did squats for the first time in 3 months on Tuesday, my legs are still aching now. Squats
Nice.
with a barbell squats, that is.
Do you do a video?
No, it was in the gym, and they don't like you filming in the gym.
Oh man, that'll be a good video, Augie.
What was that word again, Augie? Telomeres?
Telomeres. I can't remember how to spell it. Telomeres, or something like that. Yeah, they're sort of like bits of the chromosome that's on the end, and they shorten as you age, but exercise can help reduce the shortening time, or they can make them a bit longer as well. There you go.
Daniela brought up a really good point about anti-anxiety and just your mental health, how important exercise is for that. Yeah. Hormonal balance. I mean, you guys, there's so much. It's like, I know Fit Lab, Aaron's like throwing out all this stuff because there's so much. It's like, you don't even know where to start. But it's like really important to control your anxiety in a healthy way. You don't have to take medication if you're, in most cases, maybe you do, but in most cases, you can control anxiety and depression and good mental health through regular exercise. And that's not an age thing.
Anxiety candidate right here. No depression, but anxiety. I saw the towers come down. I was about 20 blocks away. So that's something, that hurt very deeply, and I'm seeing the effects, till now. So
I think it's really interesting too, because I think it's kind of counterintuitive, and also, just I think there's a big stigma in our society around fitness. That fitness is only meant for certain kinds of people, and it can be really intimidating to start. And I did another session on starting your fitness journey a little while ago. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check that one out. So I don't want to go too crazy down it, but I do think that there's such a stigma around it. And so if you are suffering from anxiety, or you are suffering from depression, sometimes it seems like it's too easy that going out for a walk every day is actually going to be something that helps you and that's going to change your mood around. Or yoga, that yoga is going to help you with your anxiety, or that just fitness in general, because it does change your mood. And it may not be an immediate thing. It may not be like, you go work out and the next day you're in the best mood, but over time, again, it's something that compounds, I think, over time as well.
I agree, Jen. And it's like getting out and doing something. Like I'm doing in my Facebook group, we're doing a 10,000 step a day challenge for 10 days. And the benefits from that are brain health. I mean, even eye health, mental health, burning fat, burning calories. It's basic movement. Like my mom's 83 years old. And I'm like, what's your advice? keep moving. That's what she says. Keep moving, because it's just so very important. I mean, physical, mental, spiritual health. It's important for all of that.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually amazing. It's just like, as you guys have already said, there's just so many freaking benefits of it. I don't even know. It's like hard to even start. But Sue, how about you? What do you think?
One of the things you mentioned about how intimidating it can be for someone to get started. Just this week, I was working in our home office, and my husband was on a Zoom call with someone who said, "Hey, I just did your wife's Pilates workout this morning on YouTube." And as they were chatting, she was saying how she did the Pilates, but she's very intimidated by yoga. And I have encountered that so often in classes. People have come in a lot of the times on the advice of their physician that they need to do some yoga, and they really come in being completely at a loss of, just fitting in, feeling that they're not going to fit in, because there's so many preconceived notions. One of the big ones with yoga I found is that a lot of the people think it's for women, which I always laugh at, because it's like the biggest yogis have always been men. So it's so funny to me that it's perceived as being strictly for women. So in a class setting, what I found is that you may have 25 women to maybe 3 guys, because they feel intimidated by it. Some of them just like being there because there's a lot of women, of course. But yeah, and it's just if nothing else, if that message can be heard, that no matter what you need to move somehow. Whether it is yoga, whether it is working with a trainer, or just going out for a walk, as you mentioned, Jen, you just need to move. And yeah, before your physician is the one that's telling you to go do it. So get ahead of it. And the dividends are just so amazing.
Yeah, go ahead, Master.
Yoga, sorry. Speaking of yoga, Sue, the people have this notion that I cannot bend myself into a pretzel.
Yeah.
All these contusions and whatnot, or I can't touch my toes. That's not what it is. That's not what yoga is.
Exactly.
Much. It's a whole gamut. And over the last, I would say, 10, maybe 15 years, or probably more, 20 years. And now professional sports have begun to incorporate yoga. So the NBA, there's soccer players, football players from around the world, cricket players that have been incorporating yoga into their, and lots of those sports are also male dominated. It's not just for, so the notion that it's only for women, that should be out the window.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a gel team here that I've been fortunate enough to go in and do some yoga there with them. And some of the I teach yoga at schools also, and one of the schools that I teach in, some of the kids the boys have adopted yoga, and they really want to try to impress me because their favorite hockey player is now doing yoga. So they want to be just like that. So it is changing, and it is very inspiring, to anybody who looks up to these celebrity stars, sports stars, that, incorporating yoga in your regime is really going to pay off benefits that you will perform better in your sports.
Yeah, I think this also goes back to the other rumor or the other myth that's been around for years that, women who lift are going to become, men, or that are going to become, just super muscular and big. And, I think hopefully that's been debunked now, but just in case it hasn't, that's not true. For women to bulk up, it would take
I wish. I read an article the other day and it said exactly that. And I'm thinking, just shut up, will you? I wasn't so polite as that, but you get my point. And that is another myth that, I thought I should die, should be killed forever, but it just won't seem to go away in some circles. But there you go. We can only do our best.
Well, and the thing is, it's like it's physiologically impossible for women to get bulky unless they're taking testosterone. And so honestly, to increase your gains, to increase your lean muscle, you have to go up in weight, right? So you're not even going to gain muscle mass if you're using low weight. So I'm really pushing in my boot camps. I'm like, you need to go up. You need to go from your 8 to your 10, 10 to 12, 12 to 15. We'll probably max out at 20 because we do endurance strength training. But that is a myth that you're going to get big and bulky. You're actually going to get leaner and you're going to build that muscle mass, because right back to the aging process, we're losing muscle mass if we're not working on it. So we're not going to get big and bulky. You're going to stay young looking. It's the fountain of youth. Strength training is the fountain of youth, and also benefits bone density too, which, by the way, we lose as we age. A lot of negatives, but there's some positives.
And Aaron just brought that up as well. And of course, for women, you suffer more than men generally the osteoporosis with your bone problems, especially as you age. And we could be here all night talking about the benefits of exercise, really, to be quite honest. But yeah.
Well, and we won't even get started on the M word, right? Menopause. The hormone levels, right? I mean, we won't even get started on that, but exercise helps with that 100%.
Yes. Yeah. As everybody said, honestly, I mean, if it hasn't rung in and if it hasn't gone through, then, I think clear message here is like exercise, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be walking, it could be lifting, it can be yoga, it could be a combination, whatever it is that you like doing as well. Parts of it, you've got to get some cardio in there, you've got to get some strength training in there. So figuring out what that mix looks like, but it doesn't have to be complicated, but it is so important.
Yeah, and good. And Jackie in the comments made a comment. Is for women, when you're lifting weights, I'm not being sexist at all here, but you look better in that little back dress or whatever you wear. And we do, as the shape of the male shape as well. You look so much better. And yes, it isn't all about looks or anything like that at all. But inside your head, in my opinion, if you look good, you feel good, you look good.
And I agree with you, Aggie. I think it's not so much about what you look like on the outside, but it's how you feel on the inside, because that's what's going to glow. That's what's going to sort of expand. That's the energy that you're going to be showcasing to the rest of the world. And like, that's, there's a lot of power in just how you feel about you. So
it does seem that people, if you've noticed, people that work out in one way or another have a glow about them. You could see someone who doesn't work out and you see them months later when they've adopted some sort of physical activity and they have a glow about them. And it's just, that vitality, health, the blood flowing through the body, the oxygen getting in there. It shows. And again, it goes back to what you said, Augie. If you feel good, you look good, you feel good. It's just continuously feeding itself.
The important thing about exercising as we age, right, is you've got to fit that unit into your day. So as you fit that unit into your day, it's about everything else around it, right? So let's say before every long distance run or a workout, have you had adequate rest? Are you well hydrated and fueled? Do you do a decent warm up? After your thing, do you do your stretching and whatnot, or even yoga? I do it in the shower, by the way, because the 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 heat opens up my system. So, but it's as you fit in the exercise unit into your day, your entire day becomes disciplined around that. And so you've got to make sure that all your ducks are in a row, so to speak, you know. And so the discipline aspect, um, really locks you in, um, so um, that's important. I mean, once your day is set, you begin to enjoy this, as a discipline, and that's when, like Sue was saying, you glow, you radiate it, and whatnot. So
I think making it a habit is so important, and it's discipline, right? It's not like every single day you're going to feel motivated to get up and do something. And also, you don't necessarily have to do something crazy every day either, right? So, that's a personal preference as well. But, discipline yourself, have a schedule, stick to the schedule as much as you can, unless you're, maybe you went a little too crazy one day or something like that. Then maybe you need to.
And I
well,
think that for us older one, we've been doing it for so long that it has become a habit. And but I think that even younger than you, Jen, it needs to become a habit, something. And then when you get older, like we are, and it not to exercise is thinking, oh, what have I done? You know, you get my point. It should be a habit from a young age.
I try and tell my participants, my friends who I work out with, that don't get caught up in your feelings. Like, just do it. Like, get up and do it. Because if you think about your feelings too much, you're going to talk yourself right out of that exercise. I mean, if it's cold out, I mean, Aggie, you know this, you're working out in the snow all the time. But when it's cold, like, you're like, maybe I won't work out today. It's like, get beyond that. Just go do it. Like Nike says, just do it. That's what it's all about.
Totally agree.
And discipline is
yeah,
what.
like I was saying. Sorry, Sue, go ahead.
No, just reinforcing that point that of discipline, and that's what will give you the reward. You have to continue showing up, and it's not always what you want. It's not always easy to do so, but having experienced what it feels like to have those benefits, I think if in your self-talk, if you can kind of remind yourself of that, and maybe some days, like you said, Jen, you just need to take it a little easier. Just start. I don't know how many times I went to the gym, got there, and thought, I'm just going to take it real easy today. But once I started, it's like, okay, I can do this. And just, did a regular workout or did a hard workout. But I just needed to get started. And that's all it took.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
speaking for our 55 plus community, right? What we have not factored in is the amount of injuries or aches and pains or anything. I mean, it could be a headache, it could be a tummy ache, it could be a sprain, it could be there's a multitude of issues that can stop you from going out for that run. I have to, I say, okay, first get out the door. Then get through the first mile, and then get through, and then once you're in that, then I say, okay, now let's keep adding and keep adding and keep adding. It goes on and on. So, but then it's it's about dealing with the pain. You have to push past the pain, push past the injury, push past whatever is getting you down. It could be just a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's so many things that can stop you. The idea is to get beyond that. How do you get beyond that? Push, 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 push. Get on that wheel and just go. So
You just have to do it. Just as Kirsten said, it's just
Yeah.
get up and do it. The only thing I'll say about pain is if it's like severe pain, like don't, if you have a knee injury, don't be going running, like, be smart about it. Be smart about where you're injured. But just because you are injured doesn't mean you can't move. That's not an excuse, because you can
right.
modify and you can find other things of movement that you can do. So it's just about sort of having that initiative, having that thought to either ask for help, look it up, figure it out, just figure out something else that you can do to kind of like push through, or not. I don't like the term push through because it's a yoga thing, like you don't want to push through the pain. You want to like modify it so you're still listening to your body and you're respecting your body, but
Yeah,
at the
you
same
scale back.
time, you're not exactly.
Hmm.
So I've got I can relate to that because I've got osteoarthritis in my right shoulder. I was first diagnosed with it 5-6 years ago, whenever it was, and I thought I couldn't lift. I couldn't do a bench press or a press up, and I couldn't do anything that involved the shoulder for about 6 months. And I thought, I've got to do something anyway. So basically, you said, Jen, is I modified my exercise. Right, it has got better. I can now do bench press, but I don't do the stupid weight that I did before. So what I do to increase the intensity, one, I increase the number of reps or the number of sets, or I do negative reps. If you don't know what that is, it's to basically lower the bar slowly. Time under tension is another thing. Over the years since then, there's only one exercise that I really cannot do at all, and that's parallel bar dips. That is just too painful. But everything else, I've just managed that pain. It never goes away. It's there when I'm doing a pull up or whatever. It's never going to go away, but I manage it to the best of my ability. And it's certainly a lot better than it was when I first was diagnosed with it.
That's amazing, Augie. Sorry, go ahead, Kirsten.
No, I was going to say people use age as an excuse. And especially, I have an injury here. Like, no excuses. We just have to definitely just keep going. I know you don't like pushing, but just keep going. Keep at it. Modify. And you need to do different things. You can't just do the one thing. So I wanted to address that one question that I think someone had about the 10,000 steps a day. Is that enough? I think it's a great place to start. I try to get at least 10,000 steps a day in addition to my exercise. But I would say if you're just starting out, 10,000 steps a day is awesome, but you should also get some strength training. That could be body weight training as well, and some cardio. I mean, we need to do a little bit of everything. Staying on one thing is not well-rounded enough for quality physical fitness, in my opinion.
Awesome. Thanks so much for addressing that, Kirsten, because I was going to throw that over to you too, especially because I know you're doing your 10,000 step challenge. So I thought that was awesome. And yeah, my advice, Mr. Ventura, is just start. Just start with something, ask for advice. And if you don't know where to ask, I know a ton of people in the comments already mentioned that they would be more than willing to help you out or have a conversation with you on it. I'm sure anybody on this call right now, call, video, whatever, this live, Nasser, Augie, Kirsten, Sue, myself, all of us would be happy to talk to you offline. So if you need some help just getting started or figuring it out, feel free to reach out, especially if you're new to this kind of stuff. It can be really overwhelming to get started. So if you need help with that, ask for help. That's my advice. All right. Okay, cool. So I know we've talked a lot about a lot of things, and we talked a lot about mindset. So, mindset is a big thing, especially I think as we're getting older too. We get a little bit more rigid in our ways. We get a little bit more stiff in what we're doing, and it can be very difficult to get around that sometimes. But you just have to do it. You have to make a habit of it. You need to build it into your lifestyle. So also, I'll throw it back. I did do a live with Majors. So if you guys are familiar with Majors, that guy is inspiring. he told you there are no excuses. So if you're interested in that one, go check that one out. But, as everybody else has already said, it is all about your mindset. It's all about remembering that what you can do. And I quote Nasser on this all the time. It's that you get to. It's not that you can do it, but you get to do it.
Yeah, talk about motivation. For us all, it's been a difficult year, just over a year for the whole world, wherever you live, and we've all had to adapt to different things. Initially, over in the UK, all parks were shut for the first couple of months. I can't remember when they opened, maybe about August. So we could go over the park and do a workout, and I used a kids climbing frames. I used that as as because gyms were still shut at the time, and I've got my own kit, but also I've got a bit of a garden, so I can do in there, and I have got my own kit. And I think that for me, I started my YouTube channel to try to encourage people that no matter what level you are of exercise, no matter if you've got no kit at all, do something in the garden. And my workouts are mainly for absolute beginners, but also for older people who don't really have a clue. And that's not being derogatory about them at all. One of the workouts I did was an upright row with a washing bowl full of crockery, right, to put some weight in it. Everybody's got a washing up bowl or something they can use as a weight. If not, they're just their own body weight, a counter, the back of the sofa or something like that. So,
yeah. Or you can even check out the Tattooed Rodent. He's got a ton of do-it-yourself workout equipment, from building your own sled to, using concrete to make your own weights.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing how he did that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got a will, you've got a way, right? So the whole thing is there are no excuses. You can use your body weight. As Augie said, you can use your couch. Everyone pretty much has one of those, You could use a pillow. You could use cans of peas, there's just so many things that you can use at home. So, and you can be fit on a budget. You don't there's just, the biggest thing is your mindset. So Daniela said it earlier, was the biggest muscle in your body is, or the most powerful muscle you have, is your mind. And I couldn't agree more.
It's like this. In my mind, I'm a 35-year-old, so I have no qualms about going to the park, looking at the kids' jungle gym, and jumping like a monkey on any of those, doing pull-ups, or doing, trying to do whatever. I just hoist myself over the bars, do all kinds of crazy stuff. If you, of course, you've given your viewers my Instagram name, but they can check me out. So I do, like this morning I did, what was it? You hang from the bar, and then a slow-mo pull-up with my legs going, so it's a slow-mo pull-up. Take a look at that. Or I lie on my back, raise my legs to the sky, and then step down slowly. That is amazing for the core. And that, by the way, I do it on a picnic bench. Or I go to the end of one end of the bench, and I pick up the bench 10 times. So that's like a bicep curl. There's hundreds and hundreds of things you can do out there with your own body weight, or with whatever's there around you. You don't need dumbbells and barbells and whatnot. Not at all. No, it's about feeling a kid at heart.
Yeah, I was going to say, Nasser, I think you even use a tree to help you do your handstand.
Yeah. I wish I could do it without the tree.
No, but I mean, I think one of the amazing things here is, like, guys, Nasser's learning how to do a handstand. Like, how awesome is that? I think it just goes to show you that if you've got a will, you've got a way. So
Yeah.
That's
And
fine.
you do have curious onlookers at the park or whatever, but you just go and do your thing. So
Because I work out in the park a lot, I get a lot of people walk by, and a lot of people. In fact, there was a woman yesterday. Sorry, this morning I took a client over in the park, and she said, "Oh, you're that teacher, aren't you?" And I'm thinking, "Wow, how did you recognise me?" And she was obviously had walked by or something like that. And that to me is great. And when somebody actually talks to you and asks you your age, and you're doing, I'm doing hanging leg raises or something stupid like that, and somebody comes along and asks your age, and so I tell them I'm 60, and they say, "Wow," that to me says a lot, and that's why it's not the only reason I do it. I do it for myself, but I do it for my family as well. But when you get comments like that from complete strangers, then you know that you're on the right track.
and I bet you, Augie, their first reaction to you is, "But that's impossible," is it?
They do look at me strange, some of the things I do, and yes, you're right. Yeah.
But just because we're older doesn't mean we can't try new things. That actually keeps us younger, it keeps our bodies younger. It's healthy for our mind. There's been a lot of research done that we need to try things that actually are hard for us. Get out of our comfort zone. Again, referring to Majors again, because he is saying that all the time, comfort kills. Try new things. Be like Nasser, hang from a tree. I mean, like, honestly, like, try new things. Doesn't matter if you're older. It doesn't matter. That's not an excuse.
Try new things. Because of Jen and Sue and Rachel as well, and a couple of others, for the first time in my life, I was one of those men who wouldn't do yoga. It was for women, right? But because of Sue, I can't do all the moves, as I explained to both of you at various stages, but I do my best. But I love it. And I use yoga and Pilates on my active rest days very often.
I think that's
Cool.
amazing. And Augie, I'm still always, every time I know you've told me that a few times and I'm humbled by it every single time. So I'm just so, I think it's so cool. So yeah. All right. So one of the things I also want to talk a little bit about is compounding impacts. I know we talked a lot about mindset. We talked a lot about the health benefits overall. But I did want to talk about some of the other factors, things like nutrition, things like sleep. We had mentally healthy here, but I think we kind of covered that off a little bit. So anyone want to start us off?
I think that nutrition is quite often overlooked as the way to health and to fitness as well. I always think that, as far as having a fit body, 80% of it to me is nutrition. You've got to fuel your body with the right stuff if you want it to perform. And it's simple eating. It's, get away from processed foods, eat real food, and it's as easy as that. 3 years ago, I adopted intermittent fasting, which is not for everyone. And certainly ladies, depending on your age group, may have to approach that with caution. But I find that the benefits of that have been just huge. It's made, I've never really had a weight issue, but it certainly has taken it completely out of the equation. Like it just balances itself. And I really like the fact that it doesn't mess up the kitchen as much. So I only have to do dishes a couple times a day. So
That's very helpful.
Yeah, I really like that part of it. And I also think that working with a naturopath to me is, you may not have specific issues with your health, but just fine tuning things. And I think a naturopath has the approach, they have the tools that can really help you to hone in on where you need to kind of refine your nutrition. and as well as the rest of your healthy habits. But I think that's been a really big one, and I just can't imagine not getting that, just that other. I mean, draw from all the experts that you can, right, to support you. They have expertise in areas that I don't. Of course, that's their study, so I want to learn from them. I've learned from various fitness people, different tricks. I've learned from physiotherapists, different tricks that can help to really balance my body. So, just draw from what's available to you is my advice.
Jessica had mentioned sleep. Lack of sleep actually causes muscle loss, and it causes slow metabolism. So, something as simple as sleep that we just take for granted, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And some people are like, I don't need that much sleep. Well, your brain may, our brain needs to shut down. It needs to, regenerate and heal at nighttime. So we need sleep, we need hydration, constant hydration, constant water drinking, throughout the day. And yes, nutrition, also keeping stress at a minimum. If you're stressed out all the time, those cortisol levels are going to skyrocket. Plus, it's just so unhealthy to be stressed out. So if you want to have a quality, as you age, have a quality of life, basic things, eating right, moving. So it's basic stuff, but we got to do it.
That's it. That's what I think is so crazy is, on one hand, it feels like these things are just so simple, like drink water, sleep, eat right, and move, and it seems like that's but that equation is will do wonders for you. And I feel like the more that you start with one and slowly you just start building out some of those other habits too. So, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's a lot, I don't do those things, don't worry, you can layer them on, you don't need to do them all at one time. But just to build on what Sue said too, in terms of nutrition and a naturopath and things like that, I also really believe in naturopath just for preventative medicine and things like that. Because, for me, I actually suffered from a lot of pollen and those kinds of environmental allergies for years. Also, we have sinus issues that run in my family. And honestly, I bet you it was food related, because a lot of the time, if you go to the doctor, they'll just prescribe you something to manage the sinuses. So, you've either got to take something that's over the counter, maybe you eventually end up having surgery for your sinuses. But imagine if actually it was a specific food group or a specific food that you're constantly eating and that's actually contributing to that. Would you not rather just change your diet slightly and not have those issues, and then maybe not have to go through those surgeries? So, there's always going to be scenarios where surgery is required. I'm not saying that, but just there could be other, methods that you look into to kind of figure out, why is my body reacting like that? Why is it creating that extra mucus? Why is it doing these kinds of things? Because the more that you understand about your body, again, you're reducing inflammation in your body. That's also going to help you have more energy, because instead of your body just fighting, the inflammation all day, actually you'll have that extra energy. And guess what? Now moving becomes a bit easier too, or some of these other things that you want to do also become easier. So it all kind of, it's like a puzzle.
So I'm studying or nutrition. I'm studying gut health at the moment, and it's amazing though how much scientists still don't know about what goes on in the gut. But I've read a book and I'm doing lots of other things as well, and it is incredibly complicated. But what scientists do know now, and they're finding out new stuff all the time, is how much what goes on in your gut affects the rest of the body, including the brain. But yeah, it's still a relatively new science for them, and there's what was written a year ago, is now being superseded now, kind of thing. It's a bit like technology and computers. I'm trying to think of the name of an author that I read. She was a German doctor. I can't remember the name now, but absolutely brilliant. I was fascinated. It's quite thick, it's quite detailed, and I've read it twice. But it's a subject I'm really, really interested in. And yeah, so it's gut health is a big thing as well in the scientific world.
If I can jump in here, to put this COVID thing into perspective, right? Um, we're all stuck at home. And the obvious thing to do when you're stuck with your computer at home is to snack all day. You're not moving. Snack all day. So I kind of restructured it for myself in a simple way. I like this KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid. So um, before I go for my run, I drink beetroot juice, and that gives me a ton of energy. My God, that makes me like Superman. My ass is on fire, and I'm running. Trust me. When I get back, I have my protein shake, which I which I kind of phase out. I keep having it for a good 2 hours, in sips. Then I go with nuts, which are high antioxidants, right? And then throughout the day, I don't have lunch. I don't have anything else except for I'll keep either nuts or spinach, raw spinach by my side, baby spinach. The energy that you get from just spinach and beet juice, trust me, it puts you over the top, really. So
That's amazing, Nasser. Thanks for sharing that too. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I've ever had, like, I don't think beet juice is something I regularly consume. So I think I'm gonna have to try that out for that
try
energy
that.
booster.
Try it. In fact, there are a lot of beet juices on the market right now, which are overdoing it. They're all overdoing it. So it's out there. Yeah, I'd say go to the market, pick up a few beets, boil them, and have that juice. That's the better way to go.
Do you make your own, Nasser?
In fact, in the beet juice, I infuse it with powders like moringa, ashwagandha, giloy juice. These are, and some Indian herbs, which really boost the energy. You can include ginseng. People, Koreans use a lot of ginseng in that. So these are all serious energy boosters, which are all natural. There's no chemicals in it. You know.
So Nasser, do you boil the beets and then you like juice those beets? Is that how you do it?
Boil.
Or
No, I say I cut up two medium-sized beets, right? Fill the vessel with water, right? Say 2 glasses of water, and then the beets are sliced and they go into my shake. The juice is what I drink, and that's the water, meaning
so
the
nothing
juice
goes to
from.
waste then. So instead of like, most people are probably they boil the beets and toss that down the sink.
No,
Actually, take it and drink it because, that stuff's energy.
you can cut up the beets and have it as a salad. So
Yeah,
yeah, so
amazing. I
yeah.
never knew that. Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
that's
Jessica
that.
just said here, she goes, Nasser, I'm very new to beets, so big thank you.
That's
And
but that's this is beets are a very very big deal, and the breakdown of that is the nitric oxide from that uh, boosts your boosts the blood system. So it's a big deal. Begin to read about beets. So beets, raw spinach, and nuts. The combination of these three, seriously, and as I say it, your ass is on fire.
That's Nasser's secret fuel recipe right there.
Yesterday, I read about something else that helps with recovery, and that is sea moss. Have any of you guys heard of this? Sea moss. Well, read about it. I'm going to order it now from Amazon. So that helps with recovery
and it's actually
for
sea moss, or is it like spirulina or chlorella or something like that?
sea moss. Sea
Okay.
moss.
So what do you
Actually,
do with it? You juice it? What do you do with that?
I
I
don't know.
can't.
I'm going to order it now.
Let us
So I
know.
just
All
started
right.
reading about it. Yeah, you can get it in powdered form, or there's a couple of ways
So
So
Nasser, I think you're gonna have to make sure you give us an update later on your Instagram. So once you do the research, you're gonna have to fill us in on whether we should be buying some sea moss.
sure, sure.
Good
But
topic for a YouTube channel, actually.
we will
Yeah,
about it. Yeah.
Nasser, that could be your first video.
I really liked your comment, Augie, on inflammation and the gut and how it all relates, because inflammation, I think, is probably one of the, I mean, it's been proven in studies to be the leading cause of disease. And of course, if you're fighting inflammation constantly, it will be very aging to the body as a whole. And how it relates to gut health, you know, as you say, it's there's more and more and more research every day that's coming out on it. And it's interesting to me on how you look at a tradition like yoga and how far back it dates. And even as far as back then, they knew that the gut is where, you know, they call it a second brain. And, you know, we have a saying to this day, I have a gut feeling, you know? It's like intuitively, we know these things, we've known these things, but we've drifted so far away from them for the sake of perhaps convenience, just to, as the pace of our lives increases, we're looking for quick fixes all the time, and really, really neglecting, and in the process, really killing the gut and the health that we have there. So really important to get on top of information.
Aaron just put something on. You can't out-train a good diet, a poor diet. That really sums it up to me. And I think that what we should also say is we're not putting over that you can't have that burger every now and again, or that pizza, or that beer, or whatever. You know, there's nothing wrong with them at all. We would never, I would never, certainly with my clients, say, you've got to cut that out. Don't ever touch that again, right? Because they're going to tell you to go away, most likely. But it's a case of, you know, being sensible with stuff like that, you know, that sort of, but most of the time eating good, healthy food. Your body would change so much.
Yeah, Augie,
Well, you know, yeah, go ahead, Jen.
I was just gonna say, Augie, I love what you said about that, and I'm so glad you raised it. So, Kirsten, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like your body, when you eat healthy, your body craves that kind of food. So you're going to be drawn to healthy eating, which is great. But you know what? It's like, don't live in the scarcity mentality of, I can't have that. Because you know what? If you want it, it's all about moderation. So enjoy it. Enjoy the heck out of it. Maybe you can't have it every day, but if it's a treat or whatever, have it once in a while, moderation, but don't do without completely.
Life is too short for deprivation. Way too short. You got to balance it.
Yeah, Jen, you just got a comment from I think a kid who said, "I just you guys are all healthy. I just have a bowl of frosted flakes and then I go and work out." There it is, right?
Eric, he's super strong. He lifts so much weight, you guys. Check him
But
out.
instead of frosted flakes, why not go with oatmeal? Sensible.
Or mix it up, you know, like, I don't know, I'm with everybody too, where it's like, you know, I mean, I think you've got to come with a healthy balance that's going to work for you. And so, you know, I find that if you say, I'm not going to eat this ever again, that is a big fat lie. You probably will. So, you know, instead of saying never, just figure out how to modify so that, you know, you're balancing it. Again, if you're going to have, like, you know, one meal a week out of 7 days times 3 meals a day, or however many meals you're eating, it's not really that big of a percentage if you're looking at the math side of it, you know. So I come from a finance background, so I like the math, you know, they make sense. So if you look at it that way, it's really not the end of the world if you're going to, you know, have that glass of wine, if you're going to eat those frosted flakes, if that's what you really like, you know. Just maybe you're not going to eat frosted flakes every single day or for every meal, because, you know, then you're going to kind of like lose that balance again. But I think it's when you when you say I'm never going to eat this again, or say I'm cutting this out of my diet, to me, it's like you're just setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah, I know. I have one vice, and that is chocolate. So I will give up everything else, especially fries. If you talk about snacking, what do? You reach for a bag of chips throughout the day. You can go on and on and on. I put aside all of that. I can see my wife do it every once in a while, and I say, no to her, but I put it all aside. All kinds of fries and all that I put aside because I know that I'm never going to give up that bar of chocolate after dinner. I'm never going to give it up. So
I think that's okay too, right? Because I think I think it comes down to a balance, and it has to be something that you're comfortable with, right? So like if you're eating healthy meals all the time, but you're miserable, like that's no way to live, right? Like you've got to still live. And so, everybody's balance on what that looks like is going to be totally different. From one extreme, you're going to have majors that I think he's cut out like dairy, gluten, wine, coffee, like pretty much everything, all junk food for sure. So you'll have like that one extreme, and then you'll have, the other extreme of you eat everything you want all the time. And so, you've got to figure out what that balance is for you and what's important for you, and then work within that balance. And
yeah,
it can also be a scale, right? So it slides all the time. So like, maybe for a while you're on one side of the spectrum, maybe you go back to the other, then you slide back. So that's perfectly normal as well.
Just don't make it a bathroom scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but be sensible about it, whatever it is.
Exactly.
You will have good days and bad days.
And it's about sustainability. Like, what are you able to do over the long term? That's super important too.
Yeah, that's and that's what I'm not a great fan of, like the fad diets and everything like that. I get really annoyed when these are advertised. Starve yourself for 12 weeks and get a six-pack abs and kind of thing, which is utterly, utterly ridiculous and unsustainable in the long term. Does annoy me, but it makes money for people.
Yeah, I like to think of things, I use the saying a lot, but like when you think about your life and you think about your lifestyle changes, it's a marathon, right? You're there for, you're doing this for years and years and years. Maybe it's 30, 50, whatever, years, right? That's a long time. This isn't a sprint. This isn't like, let's get healthy for 2 months and then fall apart. It's how do you sustain that? So just like Kirsten said, how do you make that a sustainable change? And so that's going to be something different for everybody. But when you're thinking about how you're thinking about nutrition, how you're thinking about all these kinds of things, just think about long term. Think about how do you build this so it becomes a lifestyle thing and something that you can build into your daily life versus I'm going to do this for 2 weeks and then I'm going to do something totally different because this is way too hard.
And yeah, go ahead, Kirsten. I was saying you've got, and that's why you've got to find something that you enjoy doing, right? Whether it's exercise or food, like you say, majors. I think he eats just chicken and eggs or something like that, or whatever it is. And if that works for him, great, fantastic. He's found something that he can do. For most of us, that would not work in the long term. So, and that's another bit of advice I think we'd all give is find something that you enjoy, and it is going to be sustainable.
That's it.
Well, I think, Sue, you had mentioned intermittent fasting. There's been a lot of research on that and a lot of benefits for women as women age, a lot of hormonal benefits also. So, I mean, there are things out there that if you're not familiar with, but you kind of need a change or you need something else, like research it, go to a doctor or get some help. But there's information out there that can help you. But intermittent fasting is a wonderful thing. I love it. I do it too.
And it doesn't have to be so like force yourself. For me, intermittent fasting is natural because we usually have our last meal at about 6 p.m. and I generally don't have anything else to eat. I do have a hot drink, and this is whether I'm at work or not, is until at least 14 hours later. So that's intermittent fasting. I've gone 14 hours without even trying. And like today, I had a client in the park at 10 o'clock. So I didn't actually get to eat until 11:30, but I wasn't hungry. I didn't feel the need for food even then, but I did because it's fuel. So
And also, sorry,
go ahead.
Augie.
Go ahead, Sue. Go ahead, Sue.
If you stay hydrated, as we've talked about already, a lot of the times that hunger is simply us needing hydration. So I found that because I typically will eat somewhere around noon or 1 o'clock, I'm drinking all morning. I, drink some green tea, water, just constantly drinking, and I have no hunger whatsoever.
That's amazing.
So it makes it very easy to do as a lifestyle.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is, do your research, find something that works for you, try different things. And if it's a lifestyle.
And having food names that you can pronounce, I think, is a basic as well. We've all heard of, if you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't be eating it. And reading labels, my husband quite often will try to take away the package from me so that I don't read what's in it. Because he doesn't really want to know what's in it, but I do. So I think reading labels is really an important thing to do if you're not picking up. Shop the outer edge of the grocery store, as they say, where all the fresh foods are, and try to avoid the middle aisles where all the processed foods are.
I think that's really good. I don't know if you guys just saw Nikki and G just said they grew up learning breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and they were force fed if you were hungry or not. So I think intermittent fasting is like the total opposite. But anyway, all right, guys, what do you think? So I'm thinking maybe we'll start closing it out. Maybe we'll do what our kind of like last closing thought is. So if you leave this and there's only one thing that you want everyone to sort of take away from it, what would that be? And we'll start with you, Nasser.
I actually wanted to add, Jen, that how what you do impacts your community, right? And so I post every day on Instagram as well as on Facebook, and so not gathered a huge following and all that, but then the comments, like Augie said before, are so that motivates you to go again tomorrow. That pushes you, and then there's folks that want tips and they want all kinds of suggestions, and how do I do this and how do I do that and how do I get rid of my love handles, weird stuff like that. So that's one thing. So it's your impact on the community around you, and what you can do, what are your takeaways from there, and all that. And then on the other hand, I was running like a nut. So I said, I need to do this for a purpose. I kept telling myself that for the longest while, till all of a sudden, somewhere around February this year, I said, I got to do something right now. So I was about 3 months away from my 365 days of running. So I said, let's do something. So on Facebook, I started a fundraiser, and I was tossing between American Cancer Society, or No Kid Hungry. I was actually looking for an international one, but I don't know if Facebook has any international ones. I'd rather do something in, say, Africa or India or Bangladesh or something like needy countries. But then I picked on No Kid Hungry, which is for kids in the US. And I said, okay, I've got 60 days left to go. Let's say, let's try and raise $1,000 over the next 60 days. And I put it out there. We crossed $1,000 in 4 days.
Wow.
I was stunned. So I kept pushing and I kept pushing. And then I wrote to the No Kid Hungry guys and I said, I'd like to keep this on till the end of my 365-day cycle. Are you guys open to it? They said, sure. So in another few days, I'm 10 days away now, but I hope to cross about 5,200.
Wow.
That's an amazing feeling, yes, the as I said, the impact on the community. So they have also rallied back with showing their support and wanting to, come forward in with their belief in you. So I love that. That gives you a purpose. That adds fuel to your everyday, whatever you do. You know. So that's my bit right there.
Yeah, I love that, Nasser, because I don't think that you realize the impact that you have on your community when you're doing these things. And as you said, whether you have 100, followers on Instagram or 50 subscribers on YouTube, it only takes one person to make a difference, right? And sometimes, just seeing that and like, I totally agree with you on the impact of it as well, because like, one of someone who's been really influential in my life is actually my uncle who lives in Switzerland, and he is crazy active. Like this guy is like, I don't even know how old he is. He's in his 70s, so maybe he just turned 70 actually. And he plays tennis all the time. And just seeing him and seeing that, you could be that age and actually still move like he does, to me that's so inspiring to just keep doing it, because otherwise you just think, okay, well, this is sort of what my life's going to look like, so I should just accept the fact that, I'm not going to be able to do all these things that I want to. And it's just like proof and point that there is a different way. And so, I think it's really inspiring, what you've done even with your community too, and raising that money, because had you not done that, that would be $5,200 that wouldn't be going to that charity. So that's phenomenal.
There's something else that I do that I also picked up along the way, um, but I get a lot of flack for that. A lot of flack, and that is, um, it's actually shameful. The amount of masks that I see on my run, it's astounding. So I started to pick up masks. And then every once in a while, my wife catches me and she says, do you know the amount of germs in that? Do you know you could get sick? Do you know you could get COVID yourself right there? I don't care. All that I'm doing is I'm picking it up, I'm putting it in my pocket, and then I sanitize my hand the moment I get to my car or whatever. I don't touch my face. But I have picked up about 150 masks. It's stupid. It really is. People just chuck it. They just it littering the street. So that's a little public service right there. But uh, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, because
You know.
they're helping the community, right? And like that's what I think, for this very online world that we live in right now, I think everybody can probably agree that community is something we miss the most of, and connection and all those things. And, I think it's something that over the last, especially as technologies become more and more prevalent, like communities aren't what they used to be. And so it's like super cool to see everything that you're doing in your community, Nasser, to just kind of do that. And actually with Augie, Sue, and Kristen, like all of you guys impact your communities huge. So it's just really inspiring to see. And I mean, the comments have already come through, like Jessica and everybody else, just how inspiring you guys are. So just thanks for everything that you guys do for bringing the community together and for creating community, because I think at a time like this is something we all need so much. If, so just
But
Yeah.
it's Jen, again, it's you know, I actually put this out as an appeal to people because it's beyond the public service aspect of it. It's respect for nature. Think about this, okay? Think about this. A mask, the cord of the mask around a goose's neck. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is our respect for nature and whatnot. So it's like we've not even learned from the COVID lesson.
I know. I know.
So it's sad. Or a glove, plastic gloves, or these latex gloves. That is, oh my God,
Yeah. Yeah. I
sad.
don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, but you're right. Like it is really sad. And we all do need to do better.
Yeah.
All right, Augie, what about you? What are some closing words?
So my thing would be is if you are young now, get it into your head that exercise is good for you, and when you get to our age, you will really reap the benefits. It's a compounding thing throughout your life. Find something that you enjoy doing that's going to want you are going to want to get out of bed on a cold morning and do. When you are into your 30s and 40s, you are not a teenager or 20 something anymore. Your body is changing very, very slowly. Do something about it now if you are in your late 30s and in your 40s. If you are in your 50s, do something about it now, etc., etc. If you are in your 70s, do something about it now. But I think it's a difficult message to get across. Exercise is not for the young. It's for everybody. But find something you enjoy, and it is within your capabilities, of course. I'm not going to be ever say I'm going to bend and stretch like Sue at all. But I do my best, and it helps me. But yeah, it's start at any age. But if you are young, start now.
Love that, Augie. That was really, really powerful. All right, what about you, Kirsten?
Well, I would just say embrace where you are right now and just appreciate and be thankful. And don't either wish you were younger, or if you're really young, wish you were older. I don't know. Does anyone wish they were older? I don't know. But just embrace where you are. I mean, I love my life right now. I wouldn't go back. I mean, I'm really happy. So don't be afraid of growing older. Age is good. The alternative is you not being here. So aging is good. Like we're all good. Don't be afraid of it. Just take care of yourself. Combat aging, right? We're all going to age, but you can combat the symptoms of bad health and bad aging, right? We want to age gracefully and in a healthy way. So, keep moving, exercise, strength train. HIIT training is also awesome for women as we age. It's just burns a lot of fat. Get your sleep, hydration. It's basic stuff, you guys. Make sure you eat enough. Make sure you eat enough protein. I know I'm throwing all this stuff out. And eat foods that will help you, like green tea it will help boost metabolism. Like just be smart and you can really age gracefully and have a great quality of life.
I love that, Kirsten. It was so nicely said. Yeah, that was just amazing. Just, yeah, embrace where you are and be excited with where you're at. I love that.
Yes.
All right, Sue.
I would look at it as, of everything that we said, I see fitness as a big umbrella, and that umbrella is one of self-care. It's all under that big covering of moving, of nutrition, of taking time to just for yourself, to look after yourself, whether that's soaking in an Epsom salt bath and just, unwinding from whatever activity that you've done, taking some time to read a book, do some gentle stretching. If yoga is not your thing, get a foam roller and just really look after yourself. You can only be as good to the world around you as you are to yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, others are your loved ones are getting the leftovers of you. So you want to give them your best. You need to be your best. So take care of you first and foremost, would be my advice to you.
I love that.
I have one line, Jen.
Yeah, go for it.
Everybody spoke about enjoy what you do, right? So the line is add life to your years instead of trying to add years to your life.
Yes. I think you post that every day. I think that's in your post, and it's such a powerful quote, right? Because it just, add life to your years, not years to your life. Because
Yeah, that line, and of course the other one is get shit done. GS, GSD.
I love that.
For not you, Jen, but for the rest of us, we've got more years behind us than we've got in front. Let's face it. And I intend to enjoy them as much as I can, whether I've got another 20 years or another 30 years. I want, like Nasser's just alluded to, I want to have a life for the rest of my life.
So Augie, I'm planning on living until I'm about 120. So I still have half my life ahead of me. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Wow.
I love that. Guys, you guys are so amazing. So one, I guess I got to do my little wrap up too. So I guess if I were to leave after everything that everybody said, which I think was phenomenal, and I hope that everybody who's on this still is feeling really inspired and has some good tips to kind of think about. My advice would be just get educated. So especially if you're younger, especially if you're around my age and you're trying to figure out how to live a healthy life, how to beat those, odds, as they say, and you want to kind of, figure that out, then get educated, look it up, ask for help, reach out to your community, just start getting involved in those things because it's a lifestyle thing. And the more you know, at least you're making an active choice versus it just happening to you. And second, I want to give a big thank you to Nasser, Augie, Kirsten, and Sue. You guys are amazing, and this was so much fun. And I'm just so happy that you guys took the time out of your day to be here, be with my community, and kind of just give all this amazing words of wisdom. So just thank you so much for being here, and everyone who's stuck around. Thanks so much for sticking around and being here in the comments. These things are not like, if it was just us, I mean, we'd still have a grand time. I think we showed that last weekend when we were on for 2 hours, but it's so amazing to have the energy of the community come in, because honestly, this is what it's all about. It's about sharing. It's about being there for each other. It's about that connection. And so just thanks so much for sticking around, for being here, being so active, putting lots of comments in, lots of questions and things like that. It was amazing. So thank you so much, everyone. We're gonna end it here. I'm gonna just shout out some of the comments that I see here just really quickly. Daniela Joy, Nikki and G, you guys are still on with us. Rolando, 60-second calisthenics. We've got Daniela Joy. We've got Jessica Estrada. We've got Jackie. We've got Kathy D still here, which is amazing. So, and we still have Eric EL32. So again, thank you guys all so much for sticking around, for being here. BitLab, Aaron, it's amazing. I hope you all still have the most amazing weekend ahead of you. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm sure they'll all agree. But if you guys need help, if you guys need to talk about these things, ask any one of us. We'll help. We'll be there, right? So reach out to us on Instagram. Reach out to us on our YouTube channels. Nasser's YouTube channel is coming, so stay tuned. Follow him on Instagram so you know when that gets launched. And yeah, I don't know. Anything else anyone else wants to throw out before we close
Thank you
it out?
so much, Jen, for everything. This was amazing. This was so much fun. And thank you, Augie, Kirsten, and Sue. So much fun to be on this chat with you guys.
Agreed. This is great, you guys.
It has been really fun.
Yeah, agreed. Really enjoyed it.
Hopefully, we prove that getting old is fun.
It is
It is
indeed.
fun.
It is fun.
Fun.
It is fun. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So on that, we're going to end it here. So have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you later.
Great weekend. Thank you.